Hello, I'm David Hart, Executive Vice President at the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line. Our special guest today is Representative Manny Diaz. He's Chair of the House Education Subcommittee on Choice and Innovation. Chair Diaz, welcome to the program.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you with us. I want to talk a little bit about education policy, particularly in the House this year. The House has recently passed a pretty substantial accountability bill that really looked at testing, and I guess the mantra might be best said as fewer tests, better test, but thankfully no retreat from high standards and accountability in Florida. Why is that important?
And I think you're absolutely correct. I think that there can be no retreat from accountability. I think if we look at where Florida's come from the time that Governor Bush became governor and the A-plus plan rose, and our graduation rates being in the 50s to being now in the 70s, going from the bottom 10 nationally to the top 10 nationally, I think it's important that accountability be continued. Having said that, there are instances where there may have been too many tests, and some of that has occurred locally. Some of it has occurred as a result of some of the legislation we may have passed. And so in order to get to a place where we need to be without retreating from accountability, we need to look at which are the tests that are important, because we know that if you don't measure, you don't care, and we care. So we want to continue to measure. We don't want to back away from accountability, but we want to make sure that when we do measure, it's important and it gives us a clear picture of where our students are. We need to be responsible for our education system. We are. And we want to have tests that are quality tests and really tell parents and teachers where those students are and what we need to do next to improve their lives.
Well, we supported the House bill on accountability. I have to applaud your work, because what we believe at the Florida Chamber was that we've seen these education gains in Florida. For example, most people don't realize we're number 2 in the country, number 2 in the world in 4th grade reading scores and number 1 in the country. We get calls quite often from other state chambers asking us, how do we do what Florida has already done? And that's an exciting leadership role for Florida to play, and one we agree with you we shouldn't retreat from. One foundation stat I'd like to share with you. Our foundation's done some research, and it shows that we need to create the talent pool to fill approximately 2 million more jobs by the year 2030. And one of the other areas Florida has led in is educational choice. That's a responsibility of your subcommittee, and as chair, could you speak to the importance of choice and what y'all are doing maybe with charter schools and other choice options this year?
Well, we're doing some very exciting things in Florida, and you're absolutely right. We've been a leader in Florida when it comes to school choice. Going from charter schools to our tax credit scholarships to now our personal learning scholarship accounts, which allow parents with students that have certain disabilities to have the flexibility of using their dollars specifically how their children need it, catered to them. In the area of school choice, when it comes to charter schools, what we've done this year, we put out a committee bill with a lot of accountability in it, allowing districts to vet charter applicants and make sure that the schools that we are approving are quality schools. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, and national research shows that quality authorizing, meaning who is in charge of approving these applications and how they do it, results in top quality schools. We also have a neat thing in the bill this year that creates a Charter School Innovation Institute at Florida State University right here in Tallahassee. And why that's important is we vetted many national models, including Central Michigan and what's going on in Colorado and other places, and we feel that if Florida is going to continue to be a leader, we have to step up. A lot of other states have seen what Florida has done, and they've kind of one-upped us or tried to one-up us. Now it's our turn to come back and have a real research center to tell us what are the quality practices, what does a quality charter school look like in providing that option for parents. And it's only one tool in the toolbox, but we need to make sure it's a quality tool.
Absolutely. One other area of choice I'll ask you about real quickly, talk a little bit about scholarships for children, maybe from families that don't have the opportunity for choice that perhaps wealthier families have. Is that an issue being addressed this session?
That's an issue being addressed, and what I would say as a general topic is that we should never box somebody's opportunity in with an arbitrary boundary like a zip code or what street they live on. all parents, no matter what their economic status, should have the opportunity of choice. And parents know best when it comes to the educational opportunities of their children. Expanding the personal learning scholarship to those parents with, we are actually expanding the disabilities that are eligible for that scholarship. Our tax credit scholarship, has been under fire because of a lawsuit. We're continuing to fight on to make sure that we don't allow the adults to infringe on the opportunity for 70,000 low-income kids that are the most vulnerable in our state. In a state of 19 million people, you would think that adults wouldn't be bullying 70,000 low-income kids, but it's happening, and we're fighting on to make sure that they keep that opportunity.
I want to just say thanks for putting the students first ahead of the system and the adults. Appreciate that very much. We appreciate what you're doing on choice, on high standards for Florida, and we look forward to continuing to work together. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us on another edition of the Florida Chamber's Bottom Line.